Welcome back, everyone. I'm honored to be joined by head coach Mike Donnell, just retired from Pembroke Academy. He had an excellent career here. He's just been an excellent role model for people in the community, not only as a coach, but also as a teacher as well. So I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate you and stop by to talk about your whole career.
Well, first of all, thank you, Drew. And I always look forward to seeing you at the games because you get very involved with our athletes, at PA and other schools. And I think it's just very valuable for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Coach. So let's just get started with where you first grew up, where you went to high school, and how you became interested in both sports and teaching.
Yeah. So I was born in Massachusetts, in Lawrence, Mass, and spent majority of my childhood in Methuen. I went to Central Catholic and also Greater Lawrence Vocational Technical High School. And I played three sports. I played football, basketball, and baseball. My best sport was baseball. I was a pitcher. It's a pretty damn good pitcher. And I played basketball my sophomore year because the basketball coach was also, the baseball coach was the basketball coach. And he told me I was playing basketball. And, from a very quick point, I knew I wasn't going to be, the next kid going up to the Celtics. I spent an awful lot of time on the bench, but I always sat right aside of my coach and listened and just soaked everything up. And the more I listened to him and watched him, it became a passion. And I knew probably my junior year that I wanted to start coaching. And as soon as I got out of high school, going into college, I was coaching already. So I've been coaching basketball since 1979.
Wow.
I have coached both girls and boys high school basketball. I coach at Northern Essex Community College. I've coached some great players. I've been on some great programs, but nothing has been as important to me as my time here at Pembroke Academy.
Wow. So you've coached at a lot of different spots, as you had mentioned. You've coached boys and girls. So just talk about the difference between coaching boys and coaching girls.
Big difference.
Yep.
That's a huge difference. There's a different way that you coach boys and you coach girls. Girls are very talented athletes. They go at it very hard, but you have to have the right mentality of how you address, the players, how you act in the locker room at halftime. There's just a lot of things you got to do differently because of the individuals you're coaching. So there is a huge difference.
Okay. So when you realized that difference, did that kind of make you adjust your style to the team that you had?
No, I only coached girls 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one and done.
All right, gotcha. And then once you were coaching the boys team, what were the main lessons, the big takeaways of I really got to nail these 3 to 5 things to be a really good coach?
Well, the first thing that I always thought, to have a player buy in is to communicate with them. You have to have open dialogue with all your athletes, especially today. You have to communicate with them. You have to listen. All right. It's not just you talking as the coach. You've got to listen to your players also. Then, of course, show them your program and try to get them to buy into that program. Once you get that buy-in, then you can create chemistry. Once you create chemistry, you get players to accept roles. And once you have those 4 things, well, who knows, you might win a championship.
You would know a thing or two about it.
Fortunately, several times, once as a head coach and several times as an assistant for Matalosa.
Awesome. So let's go through those state championship teams because I know those are some of your favorite memories.
Yeah.
We can get to your other favorite memories as well, but let's just go through those seasons.
Yeah, in the beginning when I first started here, I applied for a job and was hired on the spot as the freshman coach. And I met Matalosa that day with our athletic director at the time, Suzanne Klink, and I was offered a position immediately. And I ended up knowing Matt's dad, Frank Alosa, from the 40 years I've been around this game. And I've coached at so many clinics in basketball camps all over New England. I got to know Frank. And, him and I chatted, and I really, really liked Matt Alosa. He was very disciplined. He was very straightforward. He demanded a lot and worked his kids hard. And I picked up an awful lot of stuff from Matt, but then put it into my style of coaching.
Okay. So you have to kind of take those two things and figure out, okay, so this is what he did well, and then you also have to figure out how you are. How do you kind of incorporate that with like outdoing an exact mock, but at the same time trying to take those ideas and incorporate those at the same time?
Well, yeah, you run some things the same, you tweak others. How you go about it will be differently. How you communicate will be differently. How you react to the players when they make mistakes, you do differently. So you just have to, you have to develop. The biggest thing is develop a consistent program that the boys know this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to do. And when you set rules, you have to maintain rules. You can't have a rule for the A player and a different rule for the last guy on the bench. You just got to put it out there what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and let's do it together.
I think that's smart. That's a good approach to it, and it's good advice. So, walking through your time here, you've coached a lot of games. You've won a lot of games. I was curious to hear about your favorite games, favorite memories, and just some really cool stories you could share with us.
Well, the game in March this past year at UNH will be a game that I'll remember to the day I die. That was a special game. We were there 2 years previously,
Right.
and we probably 2 years previously had a more talented team when we lost. And the difference between that team and this team this year is I had everybody bought into the program, and everyone played their role. Not only they might not have wanted to have that role, but they accepted it, and they played that role to their best ability. Just a couple of real quick examples. Zach Bemis started the year off on the bench. He wasn't a starter. Ended up being one of our best players. Owen Stewart, we didn't almost keep him on the team because he had taken off his junior year, and I really didn't know, do you bring on a senior who's not going to play a lot, and could it be a problem? And we talked to Owen about that after tryouts, and he pretty much said he didn't care. He wanted to be part of this. And I don't know if you remember the games, but the semifinal and the final, Owen played some huge minutes and didn't show on the scoreboard, but his defensive play was phenomenal.
I remember
and
the final.
Played a huge part. So, yeah, that was a big game for me. Also, one of the games I'll never forget is coaching at Franklin. Jaden Torres was my guard, and we went to the Christmas tournament up at, oh my God, I forget where it was. But anyways, Jaden scored 50 points in the game to break the record at the time. And he was a real fun player to watch. That team we had was ranked at the bottom of the division, and we ended up finishing 9-9, and we got into the tournament. And of course, we drew the number 1 seed team, and we ended up losing 16-11. Yeah, we played.
Close.
Yeah, we played a slow ball game. We knew if we ran with them, we would have got destroyed. So we had to play with persistence, patience, pass the ball around, and eat the clock up, and go for 2 to 4 to 6 points a quarter.
That's really crazy.
That takes a ton of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a ton of discipline, and they executed it to the T. I mean, I was so proud of that team. But yeah, I mean, there's so many games that I can think about. I can. The last game again, seeing Evan after the game crying, and Andrew breaking down, and Joe Fitzgerald not winning his championship when we lost to, I believe it was Lebanon. And, he took that game really hard, and he gave us everything he had. But I could pick up moments from different games from probably every year, because there are so many memories and so many great kids that I've had an opportunity to coach that fortunately I stay in discussion with them today. So when they call you back after they've been out of school for 2 to 3 years, kind of makes you feel good. Makes you know that you meant a little bit of their life. And that's a rewarding thing.
That's awesome. So, from a teaching aspect, I know you kind of talked to me a little bit previously about what it was like teaching, but just for everybody here, let them know what you taught, why you wanted to teach that, and how it all worked out for you.
Yeah, it's funny. The day that I got interviewed for the freshman job, before I left, they asked me if I wanted to become a substitute. So I said, I'm not working. Why not? I was fortunate enough to retire from the business world at 50 and had done nothing for 2 years except drive my wife crazy. And, when I came up here, got that job, I says, yeah, I'll sub 2 to 3 days a week. Well, that turned into a 5 day a week gig. And I really enjoyed being around the kids. And then they asked me if I wanted to get into our lift program, which is with the special ed department. And I did that for a year. Then they asked me if I wanted to be a paraprofessional. And I did that for 3 years, I think. And then they asked me to be a transition lab coordinator. And that's a job I've been in until the day I retired a couple of weeks ago. And I really enjoyed that. I would get all of the freshmen that come into the school every year. And I would get half of them in the first half of the year.
Right.
And then I'd get the other half. And it was just my job. It was self-created. But my job and my goal was to teach those kids skills that are going to get them to, survive high school. These kids come from small buildings, 4 different feeder schools, and now they're in this big building. And just teaching them how to shake a hand, eye contact when you're talking to people, how to keep a neat backpack, which is still almost impossible to the day. Having them organized, and to also to advocate for themselves. That's a huge word for me in school. If you don't believe in something or like something that's done, you have to advocate for yourself, not only in high school, but you got to carry that on to your life. And if you learn to advocate for yourself, then you'll do okay.
I think that's very well put. Those are some good lessons. Do you find that because you both were a teacher and a coach, that it kind of made those things a little bit easier on each other?
Yes.
They kind of borrow from each other?
Oh, absolutely. Being in the school and being a coach, first of all, everyone knows you right away. I was never called Mike or Mr. Donnell. From day one, it was always Coach, and I love that. I don't want to be a Mr. Donnell. I want to be Coach Donnell. And it's when you're in the school, you're able to see these kids on a daily basis. The teachers know that you're a coach, and if they get out of hand, they tell them first, stop, or I'm calling Coach Donnell. And then if they don't, they do. And then I handle that from there. It also gives me an opportunity to be more closely involved with their grades and to see them in the hallway, see them at lunch. So it has tremendous value being in the building.
So move on. I just kind of wanted to see what other things you wanted to discuss before we get into the conversation about why you're retiring.
Yeah. What else do I want to say? Just, if there's anything that I want everyone to know out there is my time at PA was incredible. From the staff who accepted me, from the kids who respected me, and then vice versa. If you want respect from a student, show respect to them.
Right.
And the relationship that I had with everyone in this entire building, I think was tremendous. And I've had so many people reach out to me since I retired, and I have to look at the names twice or 3 times because more than half of them are girls, and I don't remember them being in my room and didn't know I had an impact in their life, but telling me how important I was. So, I always wanted the kids in the end to know that if there was anything they needed to talk about, and I didn't care what it is, that I would be there for them. And I was. It wasn't lip service. I always meant what I said, and I backed up what I said.
Traits of a great teacher, if you ask me.
Thank you.
So about a year and a half ago, you had your first diagnosis of cancer, I think.
Yeah.
And that was a really challenging time. I think you got diagnosed in April, and then you were declared cancer-free in November, just in time to come back.
Just before the season.
For the season, which was awesome. And you guys ended up having a hell of a year.
Yeah.
14 and
16
and 2 in the regular season.
And then a 3-game run in the playoffs.
Yeah. Got the first round bye. So all in all, finished out 19 and 2 and won the 2025 Division II Boys State Championship, which is incredible. I remember being out there for UNH, and that was a great game versus Sanborn. Super loud. It was like a movie. It was incredible. And to see you out there, still have a couple photos. I was looking back the past couple days, and I still have a few photos of you on my phone holding up the trophy there that I took at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's when we went into that game, I knew that Sanborn was going to be tough. They had the two top leading scorers in the league with Dylan Rago and Chase. And, I knew that we weren't going to be able to stop both of them. So we had to pick one that we were going to shut down and then try to kind of subdue the second one. And we chose to go on Rago. He only ended up scoring 6 points after scoring over 20 a game all year long. And Chase Frizzell, of course, scored 20 something in that game. But by us being able to buy into that plan and shutting him down, and basically that was Devin Real, that made a huge difference. And of course, Andrew Fitzgerald became Superman in the final with 26 points. And we got a banner on the wall.
It's pretty cool. Very, very cool.
Very proud not very proud of me. I'm very proud of the kids. We work so hard to get to this point. It's what every team wants to do. And there's so many kids who graduate from high school that never have a chance to even play in a championship game, never mind win one. So, that banner is something that will be up here until eternity and something for those kids to be proud of. And man, that lights me up.
That was so special. I try to be as neutral of an observer as I can.
No, you were a fan.
But yeah, I think anybody who wasn't, from a Division II town or had a kid or a grandkid who was going to that school, I think everybody was rooting for you and rooting for your team as well. So
yeah,
it was really fun to watch.
I think a lot of people knew what I had gone through, the toughness of it. I mean, the chemotherapy is horrible. But, to get through that and be back at school 7 days after my operation against my doctor's advice, and Fred, my AED, telling me to stay out of the building to November, being there the next week. I didn't play as much a role in the early part of the year. And that's where Jim Seeley comes in. Jim's our new coach, and I couldn't be prouder. One of the big fears I had was retiring at the end of this year. That's what I was going to do. But if I retired at the end of the year, to be very honest with you, and I'm being sincere, is that if I retired at the end of the year, the job posting would open. Anyone could apply for that job. And then you have no idea what's going to happen. And these kids mean so much to me. And I want them to be in a good place with the right people. So by leaving now, Jim just slides in because of the timing. And, it gives him an opportunity to take over from here. And Jim's a great guy. Jim's a great coach. He's a great communicator. He was so much involved in us winning a state championship. He wasn't my assistant. He was a co-coach. And the boys are very lucky to have him. And that's not saying anything against Coach LeBark either. She's a fireball.
Last year when Jim came on my show with Coach Pat Roy was co-hosting, he had mentioned the story of how he had been the head coach at Belmont. He needed to step away from coaching for a bit, and then you kind of recruited him to be the assistant coach here, and that everything that went along with that. And
who would have ever known? Because when we were coaching against each other, I hated him. But it's so true. I mean, I just didn't like him. And, I thought it was very funny. I was like, oh, my God, salt and pepper coaching the team. And he was a perfect fit. And I don't consider Jim, a friend. I consider him a very close friend, like family.
That's awesome. So you have that, and then obviously Coach LeBrecq as well. So
I brought Coach LeBrecq on when I was hired. And I believe she was the first assistant female varsity coach in the state. And Julia, don't let her fool you by her stature. She is tough. She's very demanding, but she's also very smart. She researches basketball and studies basketball all the time. And it's a game and a passion that she loves. And the kids respect her, and the kids will play hard for her. So her and Jim and Coach Bovair are going to make an outstanding fit here at PA.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it makes them, it's comforting to me. It's very comforting to me knowing that when I come in the gym and come to watch a game, that I look across and know that, I'm sorry, my boys are in good hands.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for the way that you handled this whole situation. In terms of the cancer stuff, I know it's really tough to talk about. I'm trying to be a journalist and be, objective, but it's hard, for me. I think it's hard for everybody to think about and talk about. But you did a great job when you came on my show last winter of just trying to get people educated about it. And I want to give you the floor and offer you that opportunity to speak on it again. Of just, you had cancer once, now you have
Yeah,
cancer again, and you have to
yeah.
kind of deal with it the best you can. But what's your advice to people who have family members who are going through it, or people who are trying to,
You
keep
know,
good health and avoid it?
everybody handles cancer a different way. Um, when I was declared cancer free, I felt like I had won the lottery. I was so happy, so thankful. I loved all the support I had when I was fighting it. My first 6 months ago, my first body scan came back perfect. There was nothing there. The doctor called me, said, "Congratulations, cancer free still." I was like, "That's great." I thought I had turned the corner. And I went in for my um, second body scan last Thursday, and I figured I'd hear from my doctor at Dana Farber on Tuesday or Wednesday, and she called me that night at 6:30. And as soon as I heard the phone and I looked at who it was, I knew it wasn't good. And she told me that I unfortunately have some bad news. The cancer is back. You got lesions on your liver, on both your lungs. It's incurable and it's terminal. So I'm like, oh, and how are you doing today, doc? Um, it hit me hard, but I will tell you for the last 3 to 4 weeks, there's been something wrong. I knew there was something wrong with me. I had no energy, I had no drive, and I actually retired from basketball and coach and teaching to take time to get better. I didn't know I had cancer until 7 hours later.
Wow.
Yeah, so this was a double whammy, my friend. So I had sent out a text to the kids to let them know I was leaving and why, and try to impress upon them that I did not quit on them. That this is something that I had to do for my health to get better. And then after the next phone call, a few hours later, I had to text them back and tell them what was really going on. And it's been difficult. I think it's been harder on my wife than it has been on me. The only thing that I want to do at this point in my life now is try to make sure that I have everything in order for when I'm gone, that my wife is not stuck, picking up where what I might have left off. So, I have a lot of responsibilities between now and that time. My biopsy is later this week, and then they'll tell me what their plan is. They'll tell me what they think my expected lifespan is going to be. Drew, hopefully it's going to be longer than shorter, but there are stories every day and people that I have heard from that were diagnosed with 6 months or less to live, and they're on their third or fourth year. So I got to wait till the biopsy comes back, see what they have to say. If I have to go through chemo all over again just to gain a few months, truthfully, I won't do it. But if there's something that I can do that could give me maybe a year or 2 years, yeah, I'll run through fire if I have to. I gotta do what's right for me, for my family, and for all you people that are out there. You know, I've had so much support, Drew. I have literally answered hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails and texts. I have been contacted by coaches from all over the state. Bishop Brady put a thing on
I
Facebook with
saw
their
that.
team,
That was wonderful.
saying they stand with Mike, which was overwhelming. I went to our fall league game on Sunday. I had referees crying in my arms. I think one thing that I'm leaving is that the officials of this game, the coaches of this game, know that I was a good man, I was a fair man, and I was a man who cared about not only my kids but their kids too. I never wanted to see anyone get hurt. So the level of support has been extraordinary. Um, I had a quick meeting with my grandkids during halftime at the game this weekend because they're very depressed. They're both young teenagers, and I told them, I says, I understand you're scared and you're sad. I says, but I want you to understand something. And if you think about this, folks out there, How many people go to work every day and some of them don't come home? They get in a car accident and get killed. They get they go to work and they have a heart attack or a brain aneurysm. They never get a chance, never had a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones. So by knowing what my future holds, it gives me time to enjoy and do what I want to do during that time frame. And I'm going to go, I'm going to do it to the fullest. And I want to enjoy that. And for all you people that watch this that have reached out, I cannot tell you how much, you've touched my heart. I know all of you say that miracles can happen. Well, I don't know. I'm hoping God will give me more time, but whatever His plan is, I'm okay with.
Great perspective, Coach.
You okay?
Yeah. Wow, that was very powerful. I really appreciate you taking time to share that. Do you want to elaborate any more about like what you want to be remembered as by the coaches, the officials, and then you have children and you have grandchildren as well?
8 of them.
What do you want them to know?
That I was the man you saw. That I was open and honest. I cared. I tried to get the most out of my players. My players basically tried to get the best out of me. And I enjoy this ride. I've really enjoyed this ride. We had a very successful 3.5 years here at PA while I was here. I thought there was quite a few more years to go. And the team this year will do very well. But I want to just be remembered as a man that really cared about this community, really cared about this program, and wanted to make sure that it was left in the right hands moving forward. And I feel comfortable with that. I'm a good family man. I'm a good husband. I'm loyal to my wife. I'm loyal to my kids. And but when people ask me how many kids I have, I say hundreds because I have so many kids that I consider, an extension of my family. So I've been blessed. I have really been blessed. It's been a great ride. Jim's asked me to stay involved with the program, come whenever I want to come, as long as I'm up to it, and to enjoy, basketball at PA. The athletic director has opened his arms to me, anything I want. He even talked about me coming back next year when I'm healthier to be a volunteer coach. I don't know about that, Fred, but yeah, I can't wait for opening night at West. And, I can't wait to hear the kids say, whose house, our house. That's the only legacy I asked them to continue doing. That's something that I started that I really enjoyed. And I want the kids to bust their butts. But most importantly, Drew, I want every one of them to know, and you coaches to know, that not only bust their butts, but make sure they're having fun. If you do the right things, you say the right things, you act the right way, you'll get out the best of your players, and they'll enjoy coaching, being coached by you.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, just so well said. I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words. This is really powerful. I think this is very unique, and it's different from any other interview I've done, and I've done hundreds of them. So yeah. I appreciate it very much, Coach, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, maybe, in a year we can do this again and ask me how I'm doing. And
yeah, I certainly hope so.
That would be a great thing. I enjoy coming on with you.
Okay. We normally break with a handshake, but can I give you a hug, Coach?
Absolutely, I insist. No tears.
Oh,
thanks, Drew. Thank you, folks, for having me.
Please subscribe to the channel and like the video to see more local sports stories like this.